To you right there watching this video, waiting for this live stream to start, or just watching the membership video, man, and why you should join the membership. Let's talk about it real quick, expeditiously. We got the 3 levels. You got the rookie level, got loyalty badges, you got custom emoji badges, and you have members on the live stream. As we get more people flowing in to join the membership, I have members only live chat. That means everybody can see the video that want to see the video, but only members will be able to chat. That's $3. That's a rookie. The All-Star, you get personal shout outs before the videos, maybe after the video, mostly likely before the videos. You give a priority to reply in the chat. So as soon as I see you, I reply before anybody else. Get early access to pretty much all my non-boxing videos there. $10 a month. Then we got the boxing pound for pound superstar for all my boxing boys and gals out there. Get early access to prediction and most of our boxing content, virtual video collaborations, and open debate. So, you want to pre-record or go live and debate me for a whole video, you got early access to new videos, some of the videos in the All-Star as well too, and priority reply in the comments. So I see in the comments you get priority reply. Instantly that's $20 a month. So let me know what you guys think. Don't have a Patreon no more, so here's where you're gonna get some of that exclusive content I used to have on the Patreon. Peace. Alrighty then. We got an interview. We're gonna interview Luke today. Got a new boxing book. We're gonna talk some shit too. We're gonna have one of my Southern brothers come on, pro Errol Spence guy. So we got a nice lineup. Ain't gonna be here for a good time. Just not gonna be here for a long time. Just a good time. And Luke's new book is called Inside the Ropes of Boxing, a boxer's guide to the sport. So, what he pretty much going to talk about is his experiences in boxing. Said the book gives you a vivid and detailed depiction of boxing from the ground up. Kind of questions that you may be wondering or ask. Can ask somebody that knows. What should you look for when you enter a gym? When should you turn professional? What is the role of a promoter? Very popular one. Why should you invest in yourself as a professional or even as an amateur? What role is a manager? You will find all the answers and more inside this book. So, see whenever he's ready. I actually told him 8:30. He said he had to be on by 9, so I told him I probably can start earlier. So I had to move some things around. So hopefully you don't have any issues getting on. It's a little bit different from StreamYard, but nonetheless, it's really good. But so make sure y'all thumbs up the video. We're gonna talk some Jaron, Ennis, some Spence. That a little bit later. But until he comes on, give me a minute. I'm letting everybody know live. Joey, what's going on? Yes, it's happening. He's supposed to get an announcement sooner than later. All right. But real talk, obviously, since we on that topic real quick, until he slide in, and I'm gonna send one to my man's. So he said give him 10 minutes. Okay. So we're gonna slide over to Junebug, see him one. So but yeah. Obviously you hear the rumors that announcement is coming. Apparently, excuse me, scratching my leg. Foot feel good. Apparently, Crawford and them said they agreed and they did everything they had to do, and they waiting on Errol Spence, right? So, heard you're supposed to get an announcement pretty soon. So, hopefully, I don't know when. So they said about 3 or 4 days. So that could be what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You probably looking at more like Monday or maybe this weekend. Hopefully they wouldn't upstage Shakur Stevenson, but so we supposed to be hearing about that type of stuff. And at the end of the day, bro, when they in the ring, they in the ring. But it sound like Tank Fight might be the one that get pushed out of they get pushed back. All right. Apparently he going to trial after one of the plaintiffs rejected the plea deal. Also, then the judge rejected the plea deal. So he had like a little incident with a hit and run. He fled the scene. And now he got an answer for that. Okay. And apparently they thought the plea deal was too lenient. I don't know if they gotta financially up the money to the better to sweeten the deal. I don't know. I'm not in that case, but you flee the scene, that's automatically a felony. Because I'm not sure all that's, and if you're intoxicated, you might as well flee then. Shit, that's even worse. So I'm not sure if he's intoxicated or whatever, but he fled the scene at home. And they said one of the plaintiffs rejected the plea offer. That led to the judge rejecting the plea offer. He's gonna have a 2-day trial. So he might have a 2-day trial. So I mean, it is what it is. Charles White already say, time, give somebody that time. They won't make that mistake again. Sometimes you can be you be in there so long you can be institutionalized. Sometimes it can happen like that. So I mean, but mistakes, we make a lot of mistakes when I was young. If I, some of the mistakes I made, man, shit, this is what it is. So apparently, of course, they get money from the insurance companies and all that type of shit. So whatever, one of them said no, you need to go sit down in jail. So you're probably looking at 30 days, isolated. But 30 days is enough. 30 days enough to alter your mind for sure. Sitting there looking at the same four walls, by yourself. Gonna have a lot of fucking epiphanies, dude, sitting in there. People think it's a game. Shit, a lot of people couldn't do a week in there. And I don't think they're gonna put them in general population, but isolation is where a lot of the mind crippling shit come from. You get 1 hour to go outside, you see nobody else but the guards, you talk to nobody else but yourself and the guards. It's crazy. That's probably what he need to sit his ass down. And this is why they don't like young guys. This is why they don't like young guys going back to their hometown. That's what people don't understand. It's dangerous. You make a lot of bad decisions. You're a target. You're like a walking lottery ticket out there. To women, to dudes, to people that try to finesse the system with lawsuits and all that shit. But he the one that, ran back home when Floyd told him not to run back home. That's his fucking fault. Now he got to answer for that. Then, one of the incidents he got for speeding, he has suspended license. You just think to yourself, why do this dude got suspended license? You got to understand, a lot of these dudes don't know how to handle no business. A lot of these dudes don't know how to handle no business. So they ain't never paid a bill. They ain't never paid a goddamn Boost Mobile bill. So you asking people to do shit that they ain't really never done before. That's the crazy thing about it. People wonder why athletes go broke. They ain't never had to manage a checkbook. They ain't had to do nothing. So just think about that from that aspect. Kid who ain't had to never get a job or a summer job or nothing. You turn around and give him millions of dollars. What you expect gonna happen? But Tank did say the other day he stopped drinking and he ain't like the person he became when he started drinking and stuff and all that. So of course you didn't. Now it sounds like you about to go sit your ass down. What Pac saying, live and die in LA? Plea barking ain't an option now, so I'm stressing. But I mean, it's sad. It's sad, but he made this mistake. You gotta lie your bed just like all the other citizens. Whatever they offered the person, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, so they got to up the offer. But he going to trial. So who knows? They say it's May 5th, and yeah, he lying. I don't even know who you is. No offense though, but yeah, I don't know who you is. Boost Mobile, but yeah, he gonna sit down for a minute, bro. You know, whatever they offered the plaintiff or whatever, they ain't got no article. You gotta pay for that shit. There ain't no article in there. He gonna have to go sit down. But in other news, apparently announcement is coming. Apparently Crawford, you know, all the negotiation part Crawford did for these almost a calendar year. He's still getting the bullshit deal. You know, apparently he the B side if it's a rematch. You know, apparently there's some numbers that's going out there about him signing a 3-fight deal with PBC. You know, he talks to Bill Bellamy, a comedian, about you know, he said he didn't want to fight Sean Porter, and he told Sean Porter PBC was just using him to gauge him about what would happen, you know, gauge him for Errol Spence fight, which is all true. He said he really did want to fight his friend Sean Porter. All right. And he right about that. That's why when he knocked out Sean Porter, that's why Errol Spence ran out the fucking ring. He definitely right about that. And Sean Porter was in denial, talking about, no, they ain't using me. Yeah, you was used. What known commodity do, you know, Al Heyman send over to Top Rank? Think about that for a minute. What known commodity do Al Heyman send over to Top Rank? Just think about that for a minute. What known commodity? He asked for $10 million for Keith Thurman to come over there. Keith Thurman don't have no more worth to Al Heyman. What? How much is Keith Thurman worth to Al Heyman at this point? How much? Can't be worth much. Al Heyman could have easily put Keith Thurman in between Sean Porter and Errol Spence for Terence Crawford easily, but he didn't want to do it. He gladly gave up Sean Porter. And Sean Porter knew when he lost, he said he knew Al was going to try to treat him like a $2 hoe, and that's why he retired. Because Al probably told him, don't take that fight. And Sean Porter said out his own mouth, like, I'm not taking no fight with this fight. Don't ask me. I'm not taking no more Sebastian baby formulas. None of that shit. I want this fight. And Terence Crawford tried to warn him that, yo, you know, they're using you. And that's what he was used to, as a barometer. Now, had Sean Porter had more success, had Sean Porter hurt Terence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? Had he really drug him into the deep end and started to drown Terence Crawford, and Crawford barely made it out alive, dog, that fight would have been signed, sealed, delivered before the Errol Spence and Ugas fight. Matter of fact, them motherfuckers would have probably told Ugas, hold on, wait a minute. We're going to come back in September, November, October, whatever, and do Undisputed. I'm telling you how they thinking. They wanted to do one last checkup on Terence Crawford. When he knocked out Sean Porter, in a manner he knocked out Sean Porter, they knew they really wasn't in a hurry to put Errol Spence in the ring with Terence Crawford. We gonna lowball him. Had Crawford went out there and got crumble cookie legs and all that shit, and Sean Porter like dominated him, but he found a way to win somehow, some way, or the debatable decision. Dog, the Crawford and Spence fight would have been already signed in stone. When Errol Spence ran out that ring, that should have told you everything. When he ran out the arena, it should have told you everything you need to know. Because as soon as Terence Crawford got that microphone, he looked right over there and let that whole ass nigga come in the ring. That's exactly what he was doing. They was like, man, get up out of there. He ran up out of there, and people still in denial about that. But then again, what's his options? He not going to fight Jamel. He not going to fight Tank. He not going to fight Keith. He can't fight Canelo right now. What's your options? Ain't nothing but hard knock life for you at 154. That's it. It's a hard knock life up there. Come on. People ignoring the facts, and people still say, well, you know, Bud just don't want to fight. This, that, and the third. And He don't want to fight. And I'm just sitting there looking at people, dude. How long that excuse gonna wait? And if Errol Spence beat Bud, the first thing they're gonna be crying about is how good Bud was and using him to make Errol Spence the A side. Crazy. They get Jamil Charlo $10 million fucking dollars and they let people in free for his fight. They get Wilder $20 million. People getting free and getting people getting walked in free for his fight. They pay Mikey Garcia $7 million to fight Sandor Martin or Jesse Vargas, both of them around that. And don't nobody bat a fucking eye. Don't nobody even complain. It's a shame. You know? But as soon as a black man wants what he deserved, then it's a problem in boxing, man. Pay attention. Terence Crawford ain't disrespect Errol Spence one time through this whole little saga with this contract. He ain't disrespected this man one time. He had multiple opportunities. He kept his dignity. He kept his sanity. He kept his cool. He never negotiated in the public. He never called out Al Heyman. He never questioned Errol Spence's manhood or his sexuality as fruity as his Alizé. Never. And the man still get disrespected. Make sure the thumbs up button. And the man still get disrespected. That's why I say, man, you handle it with ignorosity or you handle it with class. You handle either or. People still going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? People still going to have a problem. You act the ass, act the clown, you act, you carry yourself with dignity, and people still clown the man. That's crazy. Still people run off with narrative. And he a black man. And I'm not talking to Hispanics. I'm not talking to the whites. I'm not talking to the British, the Indians, the Mongolians, the Japanese, Chinese, Australians, the people from Greece, the Brazilians, the Eskimos, the Canadians, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, Dominicans, Jamaicans. I'm not talking none of them. Terence Crawford's own people hate him. They say, oh, because he was with Bob. Nigga, so was Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, and Oscar De La Hoya. Muhammad Ali is how Bob Arum got his start damn near in this shit. Call him top rank Ali did. I guarantee you say that shit. Hagler worked with Bob Arum too. I don't see y'all call these niggas top rank Ali and top rank De La Hoya, Toby De La Hoya. I don't see that. That's crazy. Y'all got all this mouths for these fighters, but these rappers that y'all listen to, all they rap about is killing. All they glorify is robbing, stealing. And don't nobody call them niggas no coons. That's the definition of one. Causing mass destruction in your own community. Causing mass confusion in your own community. That's the definition. Not just shacking up with White Zaddy. The true definition is creating destruction in your own community. Because you go get money with the white man. It don't hurt your community. It's destruction. This man got a black family, a black mama, a black daddy, a black sister, black wife, black kids. Still live in his neighborhood. Got a store in his neighborhood. Got a gym in his neighborhood. Take care of his community. Seen him hitting the mitts with somebody random son. Fuck else y'all want, bro? That's why these black people get their money and don't come back to the hood. Because y'all like to entertain ignorance. That's it. Y'all like to entertain the ignorance. Instead of us celebrating This is the real black holiday for the black community. It is. It's a real black holiday. We're going to show them how we get down. We're going to show them how we going to have a real slobber knocker. Not just two motherfuckers in there swinging and missing like Canelo and Triple G. Whoever win the fight, they black. But, you know, you blame everybody involved for this boiling over the way it boiled over. One thing I give credit to 7-8, he was the first nigga to see it, dude. He said they need to fight right now. This ain't, they need to go ahead and fight right now. He was right about that. They should have fought years ago, and the black box community would not have been as divided as it is right now. Because this shit just showed the real dick sucking. Say what you want to say. I done said some objective things about Errol Spence. I done gave Errol Spence credit because I could have easily came on here and discredited Errol Spence like everybody do Terence Crawford. I give credit where credit is due. Terence Crawford ain't try to, Errol Spence ain't try to sue me. So man, that ain't that. I don't take shit personal like that. And if I take it personal, I ain't gonna hold on to it, nigga. We do. We men. We men. We don't hold on to shit. We go in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Let them hands go, and then guess what? We back cool again. Or if it's just to the point where it's beyond repair, you go your way, I go my way. We don't do all this little hoe shit these dudes doing. These dudes post this nigga Errol Spence pictures all day with his shirt off and his purse on and all this shit. To the point where niggas, come on. Somebody gonna have to say something. Some happened in the ring. People ignore that it happened. You know what I'm saying? It's just showing you they don't never have this type of favoritism towards fighters when the other fighter don't look like Bud. Never. This Mikey Garcia joint wasn't that bad. Wasn't this bad. Wasn't nowhere near this bad. Come on. It was when we fought Kell Brook, it was nowhere near this bad. It just continued to show y'all who the real coons is, dude. You just gotta pay attention. Cause niggas quick to turn the barrel on their own people, bro. Who the first people rob? People that they know. Guarantee you get robbed, your house get robbed, guarantee it was somebody that you knew. Because they know when it boiled down, yo, bro, don't press these charges, man. We used to be cool. Our kids go to school together, man. Our mothers talk. That's why people do that shit. That's why. Here we go. Hold on, let me get this together. Hold on. What's going on, Lukey?
Hey, man, this is my man. I love Godfather or Goodfella. I'm sorry about I was running late.
No, you good. It was kind of like I was just trying to give you more time to squeeze you in, man.
I appreciate you, bro. I got stuck in traffic, man. California, when it rains, people forget how to drive. But how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Good. How are you doing? You got the book. You got the best hand.
Right there, a real book. How stupid is that? I wrote a book.
Is it your first?
It's my first, man. And the point of this is I know you have a popular platform and well-deserved because you do such a good job with the news. I subscribe. I watch the content. Is a lot of people are coming into boxing and they don't know maybe how to negotiate the power, get a manager, get a promoter. Should they go to national tournaments? This is a book that's kind of like a blueprint of things if you're jumping into boxing or if you're a fan, if you want to understand more. This is a roadmap for people.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of questions. I was seeing that obviously you can get it on Amazon. I'll put it on the screen shortly. The link is right on the screen. If you have Kindle, it's 100% free. I know somebody was getting into kind of being the voice of voiceovers. I'm not gonna say his name. He has a channel too. I told him you should go ahead and build a voiceover, read books. They make a lot of money too. So I was saying that you show you kind of when you turn pro, what's the job of a role of a promoter? And that's a very, very popular question. Like, what is a job of an actual promoter?
For sure. Do you want me to give my answer, or we can have a conversation because I think we probably have two different answers, right? Because it's such a confusing answer.
And it is because back in the day, they was kind of like the plugs to like brand deals. I mean, they actually promoted, they actually marketed, they actually did billboards, and and obviously today it's more of a plug into the media, and social media kind of makes them a little bit more lazy on actually putting in the work as far as promoting the boxing events, in my opinion. But it's a new digital era. Like nobody really knows how to promote. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like, I don't want to put too much money in it when I can go on my YouTube channel and upload and run a few ads and it just don't seem like everybody is fully invested into like at one point in time how a Lou Duva was or Gary Shaw was or how Bob Arum or Don King used to be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like one issue, like what I view the role of the promoter very simply is the role of the promoter is to get you to a world title. And then once they get you to a world title, the fight should be made. But I do think promoters should take advantage of platforms on YouTube, make content, and have creators like yourself, myself, do reaction videos, incentivize that type of stuff. People want to watch boxing content, people want to talk about boxing. I think a big issue with boxing that we're experiencing is there's a lot of youthful young voices of boxing, but then a lot of promotions don't want to embrace those. They'll be like, "Oh, that's too new. We can't embrace that. That's not what they were doing 30 years ago." And I think it hurts the sport because you look at something like House of Highlights for basketball. That's growing basketball because people get all those clips every single night. People aren't worried about, oh, it's just an Instagram account.
And that's true. And the NBA look at it as all promo is good promo. That's how they look
No,
at it as.
shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to all the people saying all the kind things, man. And don't make fun of my balding hairline, man. It's just genetic. I'll
Yeah,
show it.
that's
I'll
all it
show
is.
it to you guys too. It's just a little
Shout,
something, something.
shout out to Kofi. I see you. I can't read your name, but it's cooking with somebody. Salute. Yeah, run them likes up. Gino, I see you. Eastside Leak, I see you. Keys, I see you. Flame on 24. Jacksonville, I see you. Renardo, I see you. VA in the house. So, and that's pretty much kind of where to the simplest form. But I remember back in the day, Floyd and Bob Arum used to be arguing over billboards and stuff of that nature and where to put billboards and stuff. So, I mean, it used to kind of be like they kind of used to wear multiple hats back in the day, but it was a thriving sport in the 90s and the 80s. I mean, it was just so
It was
robust.
the UFC.
Yeah.
It was like I remember an era where I'd drive by a sports bar and it would be like you could see Survivor Series and people's parents would be like WWF Survivor Series. I was thinking about buying it, and then it'd be like Hagler Hearns. People like, oh, I could go to a sports bar and see that. It was relevant. Spence versus Crawford. You and me are probably so excited to see this fight. We're like, dude, we're gonna invite people over. Do you know how many of my friends, if it said at the Buffalo Wild Wings, they put up a poster and it said Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, they might not even go. If they saw a poster, they'd be like, we're showing it on Saturday. You have to buy like an order of food. There is a slew of people that used to care about boxing that they've given up because they've lost faith in our system.
And they lost the connection too. As far as HBO was huge in boxing. It was synonymous. It was NBC was like that at one point. And
CBS or
yeah, see,
APC,
it
Wide
was
World
like that.
Sports.
You had Tuesday night fights. I believe you had Thursday night fights. And Dana White is killing it because he reinvests in the sport. I mean, he has these performance centers all over the world. So how can you not find talent? And you don't have to do mixed martial arts until you're from when you're 10 years old or 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? So he has a little cheat code to it as well too. But he understands, I could put money back in the sport, find more talent, do it all over again. So it's pretty crazy because also you look at Logan Paul in the WWE, and I was fucking impressed, bro. Literally, I was impressed on
It
how
was
good.
tight. It was
Yeah,
tight.
I was gonna look and start hating. I was like, I can't hate on that. That he looks fucking good in the WWE. Like,
I'm looking like, okay, he can do this. You know, I wouldn't come back to boxing either. That's what I would do. Like, he looks really, really good at doing that. But also in the amateur system, I remember Paulie was talking about how, you know, how corrupt the amateur system is, and sometimes how some of these fighters might have a professional style that might not suit the amateurs. Like, what do you believe
Virgil
about
Ortiz Jr. So this is a great example. Virgil Ortiz Jr. had a bunch of national tournaments where he lost in the first round. He's an exceptional pro, but he wasn't at a certain level. A lot of people were beating him. If we pulled up his box rec, you'd pull up a national championship and you might see, like, I don't know who was in his division, but maybe it was like Hector Tanahara at the time. And guys like maybe Victor
Frank
Morales
Martin?
Jr.
Yeah, Frank Martin.
But like these guys were beating him in the amateurs, but then he goes pro and it's like, oh, he hits really hard. So it's like, have fun trying to sit with him for 6 rounds, you know? And I think the problem is, right, as American boxing, and I always say this is American boxing, we used to have a style. Let's see yeah, we got the amateur record. So let's pull up and look through this. I like this, bro. You're so tech savvy. This is fun. This is like I'm at like a web conference. So Frank Martin got the win. He beat Freddie Rojas. He's got a win over Richardson Hitchens. Those are good wins. But then see, like Ryan Garcia, Victor Morales got wins over him.
Yeah.
And those fights are probably, if people are like, how did Ryan Garcia beat him? He probably beat him with a jab and moved away from him. You know, a lot of those. So actually, when we look at Virgil Ortiz, his record is a lot better than I remember it being. But then, like, the way he would lose to some fighters, it would be like startling. So it'd be like, what the freak? How did he lose? How is he the destroyer of worlds? And then he loses this ugly fight. And then when he becomes a pro, does anyone care?
No, goes out the window. Only reason that really matters is it kind of gives you a better professional deal.
Yeah, signing bonus.
That's it. Signing bonus and stuff of that nature. So,
and that I talk about that in my book to a lot of people, because I think a lot of parents, there's 2 things I always hear. Like, maybe someone's coming from football, right? And you think if you go to college for 4 years, if you're a boxer for 4 years, well, now I can be a pro, right? 4 years, that's the pro length. But really to me, what the amateur system is, if you're not competing against the national talent consistently and running the amateurs or amongst the top 5 fighters, how do you think you're going to do when you go pro? I mean, the amateurs, you might be a top 3 amateur and not make it as a pro. But if you're struggling, you have to be the anomaly, or it's going to be hard, bro.
You're definitely right. You're definitely right about that. Timothy Bradley was one of those dudes who had unlucky draws. Drew Bonas Monterosian in the first round, I forget, of the tournament, and lost to Bonas Monterosian. And
I think Olympic trials, right? Like that
it might have been something like that. And he was just had bad draws in the first round, and you know, Joel Diaz took him. You know, kind of gave him some essentials to more of a professional style, and it worked for him. So I mean,
I want to talk about Flame On 24. He said Mean Machine almost stopped Virgil Ortiz. Mean Machine's a really, really good fighter who was an Olympian. So I mean, I don't know if he almost stopped Virgil Ortiz, but like, there's no discredit to having a hard fight with Mean Machine. Like, it's a world level fighter, bro. He's a big puncher. And I'm not saying he's like a Golovkin in terms of the way he thinks, but he's not just a guy that hits hard and is coming forward. There's a little bit of thinking he's going to give you. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be giving you little feints.
He's technical. If he had conditioning, he probably might be damn near undefeated, bro.
But I think the reason he doesn't have conditioning is because he loads up on a lot of punches.
And he kind of muscular too.
Yep.
Well, Darnell Boone dropped he dropped Andre. He dropped everybody.
He dropped Andre Ward. He dropped he knocked out Adonis Stevenson.
Yes,
he dropped Sergey Kovalev. And the Kovalev fight, there's like no footage of.
No, so because he lost. Because he lost. Kovalev
but I mean,
lost.
That's what everyone says. That's
what everybody said. That's what everybody says.
But I mean, like, there's a world where a guy like a Darnell Boone, if he had some form of an amateur career and wasn't just a guy that was basically, by his own admission, like a street guy that got in the ring and didn't care and just was like reckless, wild, and hit hard, there's a world where that guy could be like a 20-0 pro prospect who's 17-0 with knockouts.
Yes, sir. Like, yeah, he was. That dude can punch. I mean, you got other wild guys like Edison Miranda was pretty wild. Sakio Bika was pretty. I mean, it was some tough contenders.
Bika was. I mean, now you're going to like my feel spot. Being a Bay Area guy, Andre Ward's one of my favorite guys, and like these are the guys Andre had to fight to prove himself, and the world didn't really respect these guys, but he faced them. Like these are the guys that they're there to make you look ugly. And I don't know if you remember the Andre Ward versus Sakio Bika fight,
I do.
but the poster was a Star Wars themed poster. And I always remember thinking like they got this silly poster and you got one of the greatest modern pugilists, Andre Ward, and then you got Sakio Bika, who's just it's hard to look good against him. And then they had these ugly posters. And I mean, that's part of the greatness of Andre Ward is he fought so many fighters that most fighters in his position wouldn't fight.
Exactly, being a gold medalist. The prospects don't fight guys like that no more.
I mean, I'll say Shakur Stevenson does. Like Shakur, like for example, I'm sure a lot of people want to hear people talk about Hobson Consacao fight. Look, Shakur Stevenson is probably fighting the second best guy or third best guy at 130 pounds right now. I thought Hobson Consacao beat everybody. This is how my book looks. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can go in there and get it for free. We got an audio book. If you struggle with reading, we're going to have the audio book coming out soon. Real good book. Be sure to check it out. And if you don't like it, subscribe to the channel. This great channel, you get all your stuff. But back to what I was saying, Hobson Consacao is a really good fighter, bro. And he's fighting Shakur Stevenson. And people are acting like, oh, man, Shakur's a huge favorite. He is because he's amazing. Don't discredit what Shakur's doing. He's jumping in with Oscar Valdez, Joet Gonzalez, and Hobson Consacao. Give him credit while these guys are fighting him. Don't wait until they lose and then win other fights to say, wow, he's fighting good fighters.
That's tends to what happened. That's kind of how the cookie usually crumbles. That's all I can really remember. But a lot of these dudes, man, that's a good point about Andre Ward. I mean, Roy Jones, you look back at James Toney. You look at some of his resume, some of his wins, aged pretty good. His father didn't even want him to take them type of fights. That's why they kind of end up splitting.
But I mean, Roy is like one of the most underrated boxing resumes ever. And he basically had the longevity of Bernard Hopkins. He just started kind of before Bernard in a way.
80s. Yep.
Yeah, it's like people just wanted to hate Roy because they didn't want to see a fighter win based off of being dynamic. And it's like when he started to fall off after the Ruiz fight, people were like, I knew you couldn't do that. But Roy Jones is like, to me, it's like Mike Tyson's one of the 5 best heavyweights I've ever seen. I don't care if you get out an almanac and tell me there's other heavyweights better. He's a top 5 heavyweight to me because the best version of Mike Tyson, I think every heavyweight was afraid of. Yeah. And it's just like, to me, boxing's full of like dork arguments where like, I don't think you could go up to any regular person and say, man, Roy Jones wasn't one of the best boxers ever. But we have experts in the sport of boxing that will try to convince you that. And that's goofy.
Yeah, I was there. And one thing, he didn't never sign to a major promoter, so he always kind of got that hate from the major promoter stuff. But, man, you had to be there, bro. The highlights don't even do Roy justice, to be honest.
I mean, the intro with Method Man and Redman, to watch that live, that was like a moment in history. That was like when Limp Bizkit was like a recording artist, and it was like all like Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, and like really bad metal rock music on MTV. And then Roy comes out to Method Man and Redman, who basically had How High coming out like around that time. And Roy came out dancing and stuff. And then he knocks a guy out. And it was like, he was basically like a boxing comic book character.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Roy Block. Who's Block? Roy Block. That's out the Scarface. that was another dope intro. When he beat Ruiz, he walked out with Scarface. That was real dope, man. That was super duper dope. He said even George Foreman slipped through the cracks. He wasn't boxing that long, but the power got him a gold medal. He was just a bad matchup for Joe Frazier, though.
I mean, that was so bad, bro. I feel bad for Joe Frazier because Joe Frazier's whole legacy gets basically discredited for getting his beat up by George.
But he got back in there with him again.
Yeah, but he really shouldn't have, though. That's
Yeah,
that
no.
Philly where he wanted to run it back, thinking something was. He thought he had figured the problem out, and the
You talking
problem was
about the
power.
perfect matchup for somebody? That's the form is perfect fight.
But I mean, in the heavyweight division, if you kind of think about it, there's a lot of perfect matchups from those eras.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at Sonny Liston versus Floyd Patterson. That's a perfect matchup. You
chin
look
of
at
a poet.
Sonny Liston. You know,
Shout
then
out
like
shout out to Floyd Patterson. That's one of my favorite quotes in boxing. His custom model, his own trainer said he was a great fighter. He just had a chin of a poet.
well, I think the thing is Floyd Patterson was Mike Tyson before Mike Tyson. He just didn't have the chin or the power.
Yeah, he was a hell of a fighter. Shout out to Floyd Patterson.
And like, but then we look and it's like, okay, Foreman had Frazier's number. Frazier might have had Ali's number. I mean, the record book doesn't fully say that, but it could have. Then we go, Ali kind of had Foreman's number. Then Larry Holmes had a slew of people's number, but Tyson had Holmes. Like the heavyweight division is a division up until this point where we can kind of go through the history of the division, and the next guy that takes over is the guy that has that guy's number. Tyson Fury seems like he has Deontay Wilder's number. We're curious if Usyk has Fury's number.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
The history of boxing says if you fight everybody, you run into a guy who has your number. That's just what boxing has told us.
And you know, you're right about that. You know, and that's boxing. You know, Michael Spinks, he stopped Larry Holmes for breaking the record. However you feel about that. And Mike Tyson came in, you know, and that's
brutalizes him.
He brutalizes him, you know. And Michael Spinks is one of the greatest light heavyweights in history.
Yeah,
you know, he's a great fighter.
Top five light heavyweight. You know, and then it's like going back to the heavyweight. It's like Holyfield. Okay, you got Holyfield beats Tyson. From this, now we're doing boxing history class. Love coming on here and do boxing history. Then it was Holyfield to Bo. Then Bo throws the belt in the trash, right? Then like. Nobody cares, but then Lennox Lewis emerges, right? So like I always think Lennox Lewis is a different era, but he's the same era. He just wasn't really fighting anyone, and I didn't know as much about Lennox. So Lennox comes after. Lennox is beating up everybody. Then it's Klitschko. Then it's Tyson Fury after Klitschko, and no one's really taken the mantle from Fury.
Fury he's just been inconsistent. That's why I seem like it's been in some type of flux.
Well, I think the problem with him is I think he's a little bit of a narcissist. That might be an understatement. And he likes to just make it a show. And like, he'll just go on hiatus. Like you said, like he'll leave the sport for 2 years. Now it's look at me triumphantly returning to the sport. Okay. I won the Wilder fight. I beat Dillian White. Okay. Now I'm going to do a very public negotiation and I'm going to get a bunch of headlines written about me. You know, I think that's kind of what rubs people the wrong way about Fury, not the fighter himself, but it's like, compare him to an Usyk or a Deontay Wilder, you don't see either of them as hungry for headlines.
Yeah, he's a guy that struggles with motivation. Whatever, Fury, he struggles to stay motivated. It seems like.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I think he's like Conor McGregor, where it's like he's like kingdom conquerors, but he doesn't really want to be the king, and that's kind of funny, the gypsy king. It's like he wants to overtake a Joshua. But he doesn't want to fight an Usyk because Usyk's actually kind of lesser than him. And that's where I think you talk about that motivation. It's like the motivation has to be there to take something from someone else as opposed to defend what he has.
That's exactly. He said Jones was untouched, but Prime Jones would probably be any top 10 middleweight. Yes, Roy Jones fanboy. That was a lot of us hanging around social media. Roy Jones, man, that shit would have been crazy.
He would have been like the biggest superstar ever. Because like, imagine what was going on with Roy. That was like and one videos, NBA 2K or not 2K, NBA Street, NFL Street. There was like this whole like, and then remember like Roy was coming up with LeBron James being a rookie in the league, Kobe Bryant. It was just an interesting era that he meshed in with.
Yeah, he was on the Wayans Brothers show as well too. Yep.
Speaking of culturally relevant, my good friend, how few boxers can integrate into just pop culture the way Roy did, and that was simply 20 years ago. And that's where boxing needs more people like a Roy, because it's like we need people that pop up on your favorite whatever program you see on Netflix. It's like, oh, it's Boxer Guy. He's awesome. And everyone in the family goes, oh, it's Roy Jones. He knocks people out. I love seeing Roy. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He said can't win no fights with Patterson on fight night. The boy got Gamboa chin. He was a good fighter though. I think Sonny Liston took the title from him, if my memory serves me
Yeah,
correctly.
Sonny had the power. You know, it's just that guy, he had trouble with the power. And then isn't that why Ollie's win over Liston was so massive? Because Patterson was viewed as like outside of Joe Louis, he was like basically boxing excellence to that point. And then Ollie was this like kind of golden boyish figure from the Olympics fighting a guy in Sonny Liston who basically, who would you compare him to? Like Brock Lesnar in terms of
Yeah.
people fearing him? Like a guy
Yeah,
where
he
you
was a
wouldn't make
killer.
it. Yeah, he was a guy, and I think what the phrase is, he stood on business.
He was a killer. He said my girl knew Roy Jones from his music, not his boxing. There you go. Crossover. Ali beat him. That was a good fight. Roy signed to Jumpman. Yep. This is he had
Hey,
shoes though. But
speaking of which, did Golovkin lose his jump, man?
no, he had it on this I think he had it on this weekend.
Okay, because I didn't see him decked out in the
Yeah, I
the
think he had it
Jumpman.
on. I think he had it on this weekend. I definitely could be wrong. I know Canelo had one on, but I think he definitely had it on this weekend. Yeah. Andre Ward had one, but Roy had shoes though. I believe I could be wrong about that, but I believe Roy had shoes.
I want to say when Andre was around, when Andre made the Olympics, that Jumpman did Team USA's shoes. And that
Okay,
was like a year when like you had a slew of really good boxers, and I always felt like everyone wanted the Jumpman USA boxing gear.
that sounded like it would be dope. But yeah, I think but Ward, I think it hurt that he didn't fight Butte, and I think it hurt that happened to Darrell and he didn't fight Darrell because they were supposed to fight next after that Abraham fight.
I mean, that was just like that whole Super Six became the most confusing thing because it's like let's make a tournament, but it's not really a tournament. There's a scoring system. And then we're going to get some fighters who are going to foul people and do weird stuff. And then they're going to not be in it. And then we're going to sanction a fight. And then we're going to threaten to sue a guy. And then we're going to bring a guy in. I mean, I am about as big of an Andre Ward fan as anybody. I went to most of the fights. I went to the Kessler fight. It's really hard. It's really hard to imagine a casual fan getting through that Super Six and understanding what the heck Carl Froch versus Andre Ward really meant. I think they understood those were good fighters, but I think in the midst of the process, they forgot what the journey was supposed to be.
Yeah, I think Abraham was the favorite, if my memory serves me correctly. Him or Kessler was the favorite.
I think Kessler was the favorite. Yeah, those were the two, because I remember when Carl Froch fought Arthur Abraham, Carl Froch was like a massive underdog. And then Froch absolutely dog walked him.
Yeah, he can, because Froch could take a shot. You know, he just started boxing him. Arthur Abraham, we just never got to see the best version of him at 60.
I mean, Abraham to me is like a really good power puncher that has no jab, and he has to rely upon you not being you freezing in front of him and not having lateral movement. When guys could move with him, he really didn't have a plan B.
Yeah, because he couldn't punch off the platform. But I was there with that Darrell fight though. Crazy shit is you didn't know what happened. I didn't know what happened until I went home. That's the crazy thing about it. Like they didn't announce nothing. I didn't know if he got knocked out. We didn't know everybody was leaving mad. That was crazy, bro. It was a good crowd there too. That was crazy.
Can we have a deep conversation about how the Darrell brothers just have a slew of weird things happening in their fights, and it could be like an ESPN 30 for 30? Like there is like a strange amount of like weird Darrell events.
It is. You got the uncle.
Leon Lawson punching Uzcategui. You got the knee down punch. I want to say that there was like a really weird draw in the first Uzcategui fight that was just like really weird. That like didn't the referee go to Darrell and say didn't Darrell win because the referee basically told him, if you can't continue, then I'm stopping the fight and you win, which he wasn't supposed to say.
Yeah, I think it was some crazy stuff like that.
Like, that's another one.
And one of them, Anthony, he beat Cancer.
Yeah.
Then he had the whole thing with Ira Uterman that was disputed.
Want to say, who did he fight? Did Anthony fight Saki Obika and it was a draw, and then he like got really mad and it was really awkward?
I think that's exactly what it was. Let me see. I think that's what happened.
And it was like the first fight on like when Showtime used to have those real badass 4-fight headline cards. So like you could get a big pizza and just get yourself 2 KOs.
That was 2014. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He won. He won that. He had to draw the first fight. 2013.
And then he won the second one. Yeah. Yep. But I remember that was awkward. It's just like, and then I mean, it just seems like not even of their own decision making. The Darrell brothers have had a lot of kind of weird occurrences happen in boxing, almost like cursed.
Yeah, because Anthony, he never became what he was supposed to become. I mean, Andre. Andre. He was supposed to. Him and Andre Ward was woofing too. Yeah, him and Andre Ward was woofing before that fight, and a lot of people were saying that he tried to get out that fight because he didn't want to fight Andre Ward. That was just a rumor. I don't even know.
I mean, it was just such a different time that I can't really put perspective on it, and I'm from the area Andre's from, so I'm not the best person to have a good opinion on that, because I'm sure when I was growing up through that, I just unconditionally sided with Andre, so I'm not rational to ask. But
he was a favorite over Andre coming into that tournament too.
But Andre, no one respected Andre, because remember, Andre was being groomed on these small shows of Goose and Tudor, and he was fighting relatively unheralded competition since getting his gold medal. He was very similar to what's happening with Joshua Buatsi, where it was Andre Ward's a gold medalist, but they were being very careful in who they were putting him in fights with and all that stuff. So I think that people just expected that he hadn't been on that level. I just believed so strongly on what Andre was capable of that he'd win that tournament. And beyond that, bro, not to sound terrible, but when do UK fighters ever come to America and win fights unless it's Kell Brook or Joe Calzaghe or Lennox Lewis? Like, it never happens, bro.
Yeah, it's an anomaly.
Like, can you think of other ones that like they come, like Arthur Abraham comes to America, and he's German Armenian, but it's like,
Crawford, she got that lucky win over. Well, I can't call it. Well, he scored a late knockout. Yeah,
but I mean, that's not an American win. That's he got that in the UK.
No, he knocked out Jermaine. Jermaine Taylor was in the United States, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean that was a.
Yeah, he pulled that out his ass.
That's like one of those where it's like, that's like Mike Alvarado on one of those top ranked pay-per-view Manny Pacquiao undercards was losing a fight. I forget who he's losing to, and he like stopped him in the 10th and final round. And it was like, whoo, buddy, like you almost lost that one. Like, you remember the fight? Like, he was just getting boxed up.
I remember, man. Was that before he fought?
I'm gonna give you the exact fight. So I'm gonna pull it up right now. I hope I'm not going too boxing deep nerd on you, but this is how I love to spend my evenings. So we're going through, where would it have been? It was definitely before the Brandon Rios fights. Let's see.
There was some badass fights too.
They are. I mean, I think that there is something to be said for when you match guys that are the exact kind of same fighter and you put them in together, because like Brandon Rios is a really, really good fighter, but at the same time, are we expecting Brandon Rios to be Floyd Mayweather? Probably not. Same with Mike Alvarado. You put him in the ring 2 times. Guess what? A bunch of people buy popcorn and stay at home because they know it's going to be awesome. They have one way of fighting. I want to say, let's see if it is. I want to say it was the Bradis Prescott fight.
Prescott on the Pacquiao Marquez.
Is that Marquez 3?
Yeah,
My friend 11.
It don't even have. It don't. It's Pacquiao won a majority decision, which that don't really. It was at 144, so that had to be what
I think that'd be about 11 years ago. So
2011.
2011. Yeah,
2011.
2011. So, I mean, I've been in the game for a while because I remember seeing that one. And that was also a legendary moment with Marquez because Marquez put on the sombrero after he lost the decision. He put on his poncho and the sombrero and just went back to complain in the locker room. That was like the Marquez move. If he thought he lost the decision, like he put on all of his ring walk outfit and just left.
And Jose Benavidez Jr. made his 13th professional fight on that card, and this is Tim Bradley's first top ranked card on this fight on this card too.
Oh, was that against Casamayor where
Yep.
Casamayor quit in the corner and Larry Merchant or somebody basically said he needed to retire? He was like, he's disrespecting the sport. Like, I just remember it's like, can't we give Tim some credit for like landing to the body and doing what he's supposed to do? I just remember it was just like, let's just credit Casamayor as much as possible.
That's crazy. Josh, a salute. You know, anything else you want to speak on the book?
I mean, just shoot. I'm a boxing person. I just want to get it out to as many people as possible. I'm obviously not going to get rich from this. If I got rich, I'd definitely do ads on your show. You know, I think the big thing about the book is if you or someone you know wants to get involved in boxing and you don't really know what to do, it's basically just like a roadmap. I talk about sparring, like what kind of sparring you want to have. I talk about dealing with your first loss as an amateur or a pro. I talk about how to choose a good gym, what to look for in a good gym. And I also talk about things like why the amateurs are so important. So it's kind of like, maybe I don't want to use the word boxing for dummies, but if you're entering into boxing and you're unsure what you're doing, it definitely could be very helpful.
Yep, or you got the kids out there, or you're a woman and your husband thinks whatever he doing, get a little bit of assistance right here. You can be like an advisor.
And you don't have to get my phone number. So you just go on the website, buy this, and I'm gonna show you something too on this. Each chapter ends with questions. So, like, here's a number one. I'm doing a book reading. How about this on Goodfella TV? I'm doing a book reading. The question from the amateur chapter, number one question: how much money are you willing to invest in the amateur system to gain experience? Would you give up family vacations to travel for USA boxing tournaments? Number 3, are you willing to make weight 3 to 4 times in 1 week after fighting opponents each day in order to be the best? So those are some of the rhetorical questions that end chapters to make you wonder, do you really want to do this? Because those are kind of questions that I think you need to ask yourself and expect to have to face.
And ask your kids.
Yeah.
Come on. And you got to ask the kid that's actually doing it, you know?
Or like I've had a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, we'll say 5. I've had 5 amateur boxers or boxers buy this book and said, hey, that was really helpful for me to hear that, because like either I'm an amateur fighter or I'm a pro fighter, but I liked going back and thinking about that stuff.
And you have to think about it. At least you won't be blindsided, you know?
Look, I just feel like I'm a real boxing person. I feel like I'm a very sincere person. If you like the way I sound and you have some extra money and you like boxing, I got a real professional cover. So if you want to put it on your coffee table, it says you like boxing right there. If you want to read it, I'd like to believe it's a good book. But really, I think if most people buy this book, they're buying the book because they like my personality and they want to support me. So if you like how it is, then do it. And if you don't like the price point, get Kindle Unlimited and just get it for free. You know, get the free version. Not trying to get over on anybody.
Well, there you go. He's trying to help. Bobby, I see what's going on.
Said, follow Goodfella TV, man. This is my guy right here.
Yeah, buy the book. He said Ruiz or Ortiz should have happened in Kansas City. Rios Ortiz should have happened in Kansas City. Plus, they had beef. Did they fight?
Nah, but I think that was one of those where, like, I don't think they could fight because I think the beef was too real. It's like, you know how you can't do a versus rap battle with someone, like if someone's like, if there's a real situation, like it's like, yeah, we can't really do this because it's like they just kind of can't be in the same. Like you can't really have like a Crip
50 Cent
and then,
Jaron.
or let's take it like beyond rap. Like you can't have like a real Crip and then their gang rival who are in a gang war just because they're rap ambassadors of the gang. They might not be fully in the gang, but you can't have two people of warring factions that are literally warring and be like, okay, guys, just do rap.
Well, that shit definitely would have spilled. They might not even made it to fight night, bro. They would have made it to fight night. I mean, Robert Garcia was beefing his brother. His brother lived right around the corner from him over that, bro. Like right behind him. Matter of fact, not around the corner. He lived right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, there was some like, I don't really want to speak on it because I don't know what the situation is, but it's obvious it was very personal and it was very deep. And like, I think it's actually good the fight never happened because that's how like lives can get lost with how much emotion was put into that. Like, I feel like people were willing to die behind whatever was happening.
Yeah, man. Crazy.
That's crazy though. Can you imagine like how thick that situation must have been for all those people to fall out?
Yes, you beef with your own brother. You live right behind you. Like that's crap. I never knew exactly what happened. Oh, this is Slooky. You can buy his book, Mr. S, right here on Amazon. Inside the Ropes of Boxing. So he got you covered there for sure.
Shout out to Mr. S, man. I think I'm decent too, and I'm kind of bald. So shout out Mr. S.
But y'all got any other questions y'all can ask from? Shout out to Bobby Swag. I see you. Salute.
I like Bobby Swag. You know my favorite part about Bobby Swag?
What?
The swag. I like that there's swag at the end. I like the Bobby part, but I really like that he's Bobby Swag. So that's actually my favorite. I do have a channel. My channel is ITR Boxing, but you cannot subscribe to it unless you're subscribed to this channel. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, and then you could jump over to ITR Boxing. But the number one focus, because I asked Goodfella TV to be on here, and he was so nice to me. We're not promoting anything but my book. My book is awesome, and this YouTube channel is awesome.
You go get the channel too. Here, I'll put that up.
I mean, it's whatever, bro. I mean, I think that you got a better, you're more consistent and all that stuff. So if you stumble across it, you know, related searches and all that, see, there you go. We got all that stuff. I look up like all the creepy murder mysteries and stuff. So my Google, YouTube analytics are all messed up. I was like looking up some guy from Australia named Mr. Cruel. I'm sure that's what all the listeners want to see. They're like, we got a white middle-aged guy that looks like a creepy guy, and then they're like, he was looking up serial killers. This is weird.
That's what a 913 say sub. I'm watching a lot of types of stuff on mine, bro. I go through little binges, dude. Sometimes I might watch stuff about drug dealers. Sometimes I might watch stuff about CEOs. And
I want to tell you before I get out of here. So I watched a story on Al Kite, right? And that sounds like a funny name, right? This dude must have been into something, bro, because first off, real weird. They don't. So let me start backwards on. I like that. I got a Louis vibe. I like that. That's good. He's a good dude, and he's made a lot of money. So shout out to him for making money. But there's this guy named Al Kite, and he had made, like, he was basically one of these dudes. I've never been this type of dude because I like to think of myself as player. And let me say again, player. Where like I have people in my life that care about me, but this guy was a guy that he bounced around from many different places. He was in Silicon Valley, all different places, ends up in Aurora, Colorado. And he's just got a fat ass bag. And then he gets fired, this, that, and a third. I'll send it to you, all that stuff. So here's the creepy part. First off, player number one rule that you should never do. If you're a grown ass man and you have a bag, never have a roommate because you're bored. That's weird. He gets a roommate, then he gets a girlfriend. Then his girlfriend comes back. He's got nobody that's his friends. So he's just missing for 3 days. Someone tortured him in his basement for like hours on end, grotesquely. And then when they went to find the roommate, it's just like this dude's a ghost. It was like a contract killer. And I was like working through that one. I'm like, damn, like your life could be over. But like, so the person that was his roommate found him. There's like a crazy helicopter going over my house right now, so I apologize if there's.
We can hear it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Hey, bro, if something happens to me, bro, just saying that. So, yeah. Do you know that Future Alien video where like the guy's freaking out and the radio crashes. Have you ever heard that?
No.
So there's like this dude that called into a show about aliens and then the whole station goes down. I was going to
Damn.
reference that where I'm like, if that happens. But long story short is this dude, like when you look for any details on the guy that killed this guy allegedly, everything is done so perfectly. It's utterly creepy. And it's like, I didn't listen to that story to be like, man, and everyone in this boxing chat's like, why are you doing this? But I wanted people to value like the life you have, because it's like you can run into that person and not even know you're running into that person. So
You know how
first
many
off,
killers you see every day and you don't know they're killers?
well, that's what I try to tell, especially young people at the boxing gym. It's like like Frank Lucas told us in American Gangster, like the loudest man in the room is the weakest, right? But beyond that, it's like a lot of people do a lot of things and exist in society without standing out. And you have to just always assume the worst, I hate to say.
Yep. You ain't lying. I seen this old man on the bag. It was going around social media, and he was doing these loopy punches, but they was snapping. I said, "You never would have thought he could whoop your ass."
Oh, when he
Never.
knocked down the youngster?
No, he was the dude. He was on like the aqua bag. He was throwing these loopy punches without gloves on, but they was some real thunderous shots. You would never thought a guy his size can throw shots like that. But I remember that when he knocked down the young guy. The young guy thought it was a game. That old man, pow!
Yeah, that you can't. That's bro. Like that's what I've been telling people about, like boxing, all this influencer boxing, bro. Someone might die if they keep doing influencer boxing, because these kids can't be just jumping into this thinking this is a joke, bro. Like you can't jump into this and drink a little alcohol and still hang out. No, like if you're boxing, you're living like a monk, training like a savage.
Yep, you can't die.
And like I've seen both sides. Someone I deeply care about, Charles Conwell, was on one side of that, unfortunately, and it's impacted his life. And then on the other side of that, I did a video with Max Davashev, and then he was on the other side. So I've seen both sides of the equation, and neither one's a happy equation.
Nope, that affects a boxer. You know.
I mean, look, Charles is someone I deeply care about, and people look at him like he's a criminal, and he's just a young man who's a talented boxer who didn't mean for anything to happen. And then on top of that, he's real young. So it's like people are asking him to be a 45-year-old man with deep reflection when he's in his 20s. You know what I mean? It's just no other sport would force that on someone.
Yeah, it's like the Nigel Benn situation with Gerald McClellan.
Exactly.
Him too.
That's a perfect example where it's like people are yeah, be sure to like this channel and subscribe and all that. But I think it's unfair because boxing has so many people coming from situations of financial instability, and people criminalize boxers where this is a violent sport, you know, and people don't always have the best access to education, and it's not helpful.
Yep, and you look at that with him, man. It's like, what did y'all want him to do? You know, everybody know what you know, sad story, but everybody know what you sign up for. You get in that ring, you don't play boxing.
Well, and that's the loop it back. It's like with these influencers, right? Some of these kids shouldn't be fighting. And it's like you don't want to see it, but we know where this is going, where it's like you're a boxing lifer, I'm a boxing lifer. We know where this story goes, bro.
Yep. It's a lot of people don't know a lot of the injuries occur in the gym, or at least they start in the gym.
And that's a whole chapter in this book. I'll give you kind of one of my talking points on the sparring is I think there's 3 types of sparring. You want to spar up, you want to spar a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, real good fighter, right? But you don't want too much of that. You want to see where you're at. You want to fight, spar a guy that's your equal, and then you want guys that are a little below that you can work on stuff. It's very hard when you write a book to make it under 200 pages to have your ego in check. It's also very hard as a fighter to tell yourself, I don't need to go 10 rounds with a world champion. I only need to go like 3 rounds and 3 rounds with this guy. And those are the decisions that can groom a fighter.
Yep, very important. They be these kids today be sparring to kill. It's not about that.
They're sparring to go viral. They're sparring to to impress a manager. They're sparring because they know sparring to kill can lead to a better outcome. But then if they don't get that outcome, how much damage are they doing in the process of trying to kill?
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Well, thank you for having me on, man. This was super fun. And I want to just say how much I enjoy all the work you put into this boxing channel. And it's very, very fun to talk with you because you're such a part of my life and you probably don't even know me, right? But I listen to all your content on my phone and you keep me updated with boxing. And I really appreciate all the hard work you put into the sport.
Oh, no problem. Watch your channel too, so no problem. Anytime you want to come on, just let me know. So, and I go for anybody. You know, you got anything you got, you promoting, you selling, boxing wise, let me know.
But I really want to say that because it's like, it's really cool that nowadays I don't have to go to NBC or CBS. It can be you're my NBC because I trust your voice in the boxing world and I can find like-minded individuals and support an individual rather than a corporation. So I really appreciate it. And I just want to see you continue to grow.
All right, thank you again. Same likewise. Go get the book. Go subscribe to the channel. We're supposed to have Junebug come on. Let me see, man. I sent him a link. I sent him the wrong link. He wanted to talk real quick, but if he don't, I sent him another one. If he don't, man, I'm gonna chop it up for a couple more minutes. I gotta I gotta eat. I bought some food earlier, dude. I ain't ate it yet. But yeah, man, yo, I'm gonna grab the book, man, and possibly give away a couple copies. So make sure y'all pay attention and all that stuff, man. And gonna be giving away some probably 1 or 2 Spence pay-per-views. See how it all Spence Crawford, if they fight. See how I lay down. If it do fight and I am able to make it out there, I need to know something like at least by the end of this week or beginning of next week. We're gonna do like a little meetup for a few of the fellas. You know what I'm saying? So me and Town Business we've been talking about it. You know, we're gonna do a little meetup or something like that. So yeah. So yeah, we're gonna do something like that, man. We was kind of been talking about it. Or it might not be, that particular fight. You never know, but we be looking at a couple places or whatever. It could be before the fight, after the fight, whatever. But yeah, man, Junebug was gonna come on and probably got busy, whatever. I sent them the YouTube link by mistake. And he wanted to talk about Jaron Ennis and Errol Spence about the video that I done. But I'm gonna reserve another time for him. Unless he come on pretty soon. But you talked a little bit about Tank before Lukey came on, man, and we talked a little bit about the Spencer Crawford thing. So I kind of like just finish up with that real quick. I'll drop a link in the Discord if somebody got something to say, but real quick. But I just finish up on that tip, bro. Like, apparently it's supposed to be an announcement coming. They say it's waiting on Earl Spence side of the things. And also you hear Tank talk about his contract. I got a video coming up. So apparently the Raging Bull said that Michelle said that last week that she heard that Terence Crawford attorney was really going through the contract with a fine-tooth comb. All right. That's what she was saying. That he, looked over the contract and he really went through it. And obviously, there were some, it's going to be some language, some verbiage, whatever the situation may be. They was looking through it or whatever the situation was. And, so that was part of it. Same thing with Errol Spence, you can trust Al Hammond all you want to. Keith Thurman said he read his own contracts. Excuse me. Keith Thurman said he read his own shit. So kind of when you start thinking about it, bro, I mean, I just think they kind of strung this thing out on purpose. And that's my humble opinion on it. I don't really think they wanted to fight Terence Crawford. Like I was saying, when he did the interview with Bill Bellamy, where he said that we got Mason sitting here crying. But he did the interview with Bill Bellamy, and he said that he didn't want to fight Sean Porter. He told Sean Porter that we don't need to be fighting
they using you, and Sean Porter didn't believe that. So when Kenny Porter said he didn't want to fight, it was true. Hold on. For those who didn't see the video.
And Sean Porter, we was cool. Right. Anyway, we was already talking about, fighting and when would be the right time. Like, because to be honest, I didn't want to fight Sean. I felt like that was a fight where they wanted to gauge me and, test me because of his fight with Errol. They wanted to see how I fare. How you would do, yeah. And I told him that. And I was just like, nah, I feel like they just using you, and he was insisting that me and him fight. So I was like, all right, let's hey, fuck it. Let's fight it. Let's get.
So you heard him, but I play another clip. Sure.
On Porter, right? And people were saying that all they have to do is pressure you, and then that's the way to try to defeat you. I don't know if them people know what the hell they talk about. Do y'all know? Do them people do they know y'all? No, I don't think they know.
Sure as hell didn't work out.
It didn't work out for him.
It didn't work out for
because he was coming down the middle, and I think you had something in there. Yeah, he was doing a little bit of both. Little sneak attacks. Yeah. Try to rough me up here and there, and try to box. So he was trying to mix it up. He wasn't just trying to come straight forward because, he knew we know each other real well. So he was trying to mix it up.
Kobe, come back, bro. I was letting the audio play. I seen you. But you heard him say, he didn't want to fight him. They said he was using Sean, and Sean pretty much insisted that they fight, and he was like, fuck it, let's do it. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. It's only gonna be a couple times you warn somebody like, man, this was it, and that's exactly what it was, and that's why it took them so. It didn't take them that long. It took so long because Crawford was probably waiting for a better offer to come, and they never wanted to make the fight. When he knocked out Sean Porter, that's why Errol Spence left the arena. The worst thing Errol Spence could have did was sat there, because he was going to be invited to the ring, and then the world was going to hold his word accountable, not just some people in the box community, the world. All that, I'm going to wait till I get all the belts, that was box community shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't going to be as viral as them two niggas coming face to face. You know what I'm saying? They coming face to face, and that's going to go viral. That's why they told him to run up out of there. And then they tried to manipulate people's mind and say, well, Kenny did this and Kenny stopped the fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if Al Heyman told Sean Porter to say, well, I'm retiring. All that diminished Bud's victory. All of it. That shit was probably already worked out, bro. And they thought Sean was going to be rough and tough and get Terence Crawford a lot more trouble than he did. And then Errol was going to take advantage. They didn't expect him to knock out Sean Porter, bro.
At all. And plus, it was like nobody really expected him to kind of control the range and the pace of the fight either. They thought it was going to be similar to the Errol fight.
Where he could keep him off of him.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. Where he just kept, remember, Sean kept spinning Errol, turning him on the ropes every time he got near him. So they kind of thought, I look at it as they thought that Sean was going to be that kind of like that final blockade to what, like, CJ, you know how we used to play like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, before you get to the last master? You fight like the second toughest guy, and then you get to the master and it's like the toughest dude. But I think they kind of expected like Sean would kind of wear him down. But anybody who really watched that fight could kind of see that Bud but if we were talking about the dance, he was the lead dance partner in that fight. He was controlling the pace of the fight. Sean was fighting Bud's fight instead of vice versa.
Yeah, he was controlling the distance, and it wasn't like Sean wasn't doing good.
No, and it's crazy. That's Sean fought a totally outside of the Ugas fight, which I really didn't like the way he fought in that fight. He fought a way when he was fighting Bud's fight, he did look like the best version of himself to me, per se, in that fight.
So I mean, about I can tell you, bro. Had he ran through, or had gave Crawford more problems, that fight would have been signed before the Ugas fight. They
Absolutely.
never thought. What really proved that to me is they didn't shift the they didn't shift the they didn't shift they didn't shift the money. And somebody just said that Fred said that Crawford Spence fight, Heyman don't want Daniel Kinahan as part of
Which is fool. I heard that earlier today too. I feel like that's
the
foolish.
books will be open and the fighters could sue Al Heyman.
I heard that that's foolishness. I heard that that's just somebody that came from somebody who ain't even. That's not even Fred. I don't know if that's official that Fred said that, but I heard that that's some bullshit. Like
He said it though.
What does Daniel Kinahan on the run? What does he have to do with anything?
Yeah, they just them niggas, But I heard Errol went over there and met with Kinahan before all that shit. It sound like Al dropped the dime on that nigga, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, you explained it before, and it do make a lot of sense. I wouldn't put it past him.
That's just sound, and all of a sudden, we don't want to work with him, and this, that, and the third. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah. Like, what?
All the heat started coming when you started talking to these dudes. I'm just saying, in the streets, man, somebody be dead.
Listen, if CJ, you know damn well if this was street business, we would have got to the bottom of
What
this.
was my man's name in The Wire? They killed Lil Kev, the big dude.
Oh yeah.
Like he was talking to the police and shit, and he wasn't even, he had to go. He was a loose end, nigga.
Well, you're not talking about Wallace, because remember Wallace.
No. The big fella, the one that told my man to go up the street and the one in the group home that he
but
the big fella that told him Lil Kev and they was looking for him and shit.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting capped too.
He clipped his ass.
He wasn't even talking to the police. So all of a sudden they get to talking to this nigga and then all this shit come down. That shit crazy to me, to me.
So where you at with this, CJ? Like I'm at the point where I don't believe.
I don't even care no more, dog. I heard they supposed to announce it in a few days. If it happened, if it don't, it don't. It's gonna save me some money in my pocket.
And I already know. I know what vibe you on, but me personally, bro, I don't even think I'm gonna show out. Like I'm gonna just save my money and just if I buy the pay-per-view, I buy it.
I'm gonna buy a pay-per-view, but I don't go. But shit, nigga, if they announce something quick, man, I get a ticket. If it's at Raider Stadium, I'm gonna go.
If it's at Raider Stadium, which I don't expect, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Me neither.
I'll go. But if it's in the MGM Grand,
unless you can get a ticket,
CJ, what you?
If I get a ticket for like $5, I'll probably do it.
$5,
but
I'll do it. No, CJ, $5, I'm doing it. $8, I'll do it. A stack or better, I gotta think on that, brother. I ain't gonna lie.
Man, I don't know, man.
A stack,
but
because we was
like I said, boy, you know they gonna they just milk this shit too much at this point.
They did.
And Bud took the low ball.
I know.
They never expected him to take the low ball. They wasn't gonna make this.
But
fight,
CJ,
bro.
This is what I'm saying. We had talked about this happening May and June, about him probably having to take a deal that they don't even expect him to take, which he kind of backed into a corner. So even though he took a deal, he agreed he agreed on those terms, gave a verbal agreement. It's still a blockade there to where it got the fans and the boxing purists guessing to whether this is going to happen or not. Because it's like you said, everybody frustrated at this point. Like you said, if this dude would have jumped into the ring after the Sean Porter fight, imagine the type of media attention this would be getting. And to be honest, I think that not just these two fighters' reputations is on the line. The sport of boxing is kind of on the line too, because this is supposed to be the biggest fight to be made in boxing. You got two dudes undefeated champions, and it's at one of the glamour divisions, one of the original divisions in the sport. If this fight don't get made after someone from a credible news source breaking news saying that they agreed to terms, then boxing not only goes from a
Man,
niche
them niggas
sport,
gotta announce that shit.
it goes from an underground. It goes to an underground sport from a niche sport. It just falls lower and lower on the totem pole.
Yeah, Lil Kev was his name. Said PBC never built this matchup. They had no stock in it. They never had no
cared.
plans.
They never
Nope.
cared if it got made.
He like giving you bullshit fights, bro. That's just he addicted to that shit.
He like feeding you dog shit and tell you that it's steak.
Oh, salute Boxing Jim, salute. The one that's rubbing his hands, yeah, Lil Kev.
Lil Kev, you're right.
Yeah, I told y'all that one, man. That's when that nigga ran out the arena when he knocked him out. I'm telling y'all.
And what's crazy, CJ, is that you'll tell people like, "Yo, this dude ran out there," and they were like, "No," and then they'll listen to Bushmouth and say, "I told him to leave," and this and that. The reason why he left is because he did not want no media attention. He didn't want
that. Would have been the worst case scenario. They probably told him don't even go, bro.
And he went anyway.
He went anyway. He probably said don't even go. That would have been the smartest thing to do.
Just stay out of Dodge.
Yeah, stay out of Dodge. Eddie Setback say today he hawked that nigga, bruh. And gave a good interview. And told the nigga where to run out at.
Exactly.
Like, we going the wrong way, girl.
Shout out to Eddie Setback.
Yeah, nigga said going the wrong way.
He said,
I think you can do it, Errol. I know your bitch ass don't think you can do it, but I think you can do it. Shit was hilarious, dude. And people, that shit was, that nigga ran, bro. Ellie, I don't know how Ellie caught that nigga, but he did.
You know, Ellie got his eye on all the stars.
That nigga that was just I don't even how know niggas how people ignore that shit.
Well, if you were Errol sexual, it's easy.
How? He could have got right in the people something. Then they turned. Well, he couldn't get in the ring. It was Top Rank. Nigga, Top Rank was dead at that point for Terence Crawford.
The agreement was over. If anything, Top Rank would have liked it because it would have got more views on the replay. People would have wanted to see that because it's on their platform.
Viral.
It would have went viral.
Now Bob Aaron back saying, "Oh, Terence Crawford
is the best fighter in the world."
Bob, man, you say what you want to say about Bob. Bob know how to pick them motherfuckers, and he know how to groom.
Listen, and that's what CJ. You said it. We said it before. As far as talent wise, like look who he got fighting 2 days from now. Look at the undercard for the Shakur Stevenson fight.
Keyshawn Davey.
My boy, shout out to my boy. I couldn't get you that sponsorship, but I'm gonna get it for you too. Jahad Tucker. He got all these talented guys. Who do PBC got? Miracle Whips, White Magic, Joey Spencer. What's my boy that got knocked out?
And he don't even keep them niggas active.
He don't. What's the boy that got knocked out on the Luis Ortiz undercard? CJ, help me out. Rayo
Venezuela. They said his daddy was talking. Jose Benavidez's daddy was talking shit about him.
What? His trainer?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't hear it myself, but I guess it was an interview.
Work ethic wise,
boys. He was talking shit about him.
I'm guessing it's about the work ethic.
I mean, I didn't hear it, dude. I'm just saying, bro. Damn. So I mean,
you got the golden goose. Ain't nobody gonna be as good as your son.
We got the 6'5" middleweight too, Diego Pacheco.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 6'5" too. He got one of them daddies that just trained his son, and that's it. He got a couple fighters.
He got a nice little stable there.
Yeah, Rail fucked up, but man, I ain't gonna air my fighter out publicly.
Nah, that's
unless it's over with. I wouldn't do it over with.
Yeah, that's a bad taste. That's a bad taste. You end up looking like this dude with Triple G.
Edward Sanchez.
Yeah.
Benavidez used to be in the gym as a teenager, beating the hell out of Triple G.
Yo, I heard them stories.
Beating the hell out of him. I don't want none of that shit.
But he's a big dude. So
man, they been to beat the shit out of Canelo. I had to think about it. Well, he didn't do this and he didn't fight that. Neither did Rocky Field.
Those are the bro. Come on now. Listen, everybody after Cotto, what did they really do to deserve a fight with Canelo?
What did Amir Khan do? How about
exactly? That? That's my point. What did everybody after Cotto do to deserve a fight with Canelo? What did Triple G do?
Nothing, literally.
Exactly. So Canelo, what did Caleb Plant do to get $15 million?
Belt though, but I ain't mad at him. Though.
He had a belt, and he's a brother. But yeah, I said it. What did they do?
Shit, crazy. I love, man. This ain't thing. Well, Terence Crawford ain't did this, and Terence Crawford ain't did that.
That's foolishness, bro. That's foolishness. Cause I just had this argument the other day, bro. Like, I had an argument with somebody, CJ, about Floyd not being in my top 20, and he arguably could not be a top 50 boxer. And it was like, oh, you can't tell me this and that. It's like, bro,
Yes. Our man argued me that Floyd was better than Roy. And I'm just like, okay.
y'all, these people are crazy. And it's like, you can't get upset with somebody for having one, an opinion, two, doing research and then changing their opinion on a fighter. So when you look back at, for example, you look like we talk about Terence Crawford. You look at Terence Crawford's record and you look at the type of competition that he went through these different weight divisions. You can't say just because a guy like Gamboa is punch drunk now. That don't mean he wasn't the most feared man when he was prime Gamboa. That don't mean when what's dude's name from Philly that Bud beat up, they had beef.
Hank Lundy. Like, who's
when Hank Lundy fought Bud, he was still a formidable opponent. He was a contender. He was still rising the ranks. So these dudes all of a sudden
shit out of him though.
Yeah. So because Bud dog walk all these dudes, they just bums and they don't compare to Errol. Earl's opponents. Remember, Errol, and I'm gonna be very consistent. Errol fought nothing but dudes who are either over the hill or they were 40 pounders coming up to 47. Outside of Sean Porter and Kell Brook. And Kell Brook was fought at 60. So for anybody to say that this dude's fighting this guy's leftovers or these dudes wasn't for y'all got to start looking at records to judge opponents and what they were prior to the fight and what they were when they got up to the championship level of who they fought.
Facts. Let me get out of here, man. Appreciate you for coming on. Appreciate Loki for coming on. And make sure y'all get the book.
Make sure y'all play that replay on all platforms, Google, Spotify. Now we on Apple playlist. And if you want, play it back on the YouTube and make sure you watch all the commercials.
Peace.